Hey guys, it's Skylar and Connor from CRKN here with another episode of the podcast.
Yeah.
Um,
Today, we are discussing why LEGO Dimensions is better than Infinity and Skylanders.
Alright, so this is going to be a little bit harder for me personally because as soon as Infinity came out, I got it and I absolutely loved it, which is sad and pathetic, I know, but I really enjoyed it. At 2.0 came out, and I'm like, I didn't want to say 2.0 was better or worse than the first game, but I felt like it was worse, but I couldn't say that, because it had worse things and better things than the first game. Third came out, best one of the three, and now it's dead. So, yeah. But yeah, personally, it's a little harder for me to say Dimensions is better, but now that Infinity said, it's a little bit easier to say. But let's start off with the actual content of the toys that you get for both series. So, for Infinity, just like what Skylanders was doing at the time, was just selling plain old figures. Except at that point, Skylanders was doing Swap Force, and then the year later, they just kept still figurines, but they still had, Trap Masters and crap like that. Meanwhile, Infinity had superheroes, Marvel superheroes, and then the third game, they added Star Wars characters. Third game, they added Star Wars, and some more Marvel and Disney stuff. And then Skylanders at that point was doing superchargers, so they had actual, toy vehicles, and they weren't just, still pieces. They actually had functioning wheels and stuff. So the figures themselves were just kind of boring. They were nicely detailed, but they didn't do as much as Skylanders did. And then Dimensions came out in 2015, and that just kind of, I
find it that Amiibo, when compared to Skylanders, is so much better in quality.
Wait, hold on, say that again? I didn't hear half of that. Hey, say that again. I didn't hear any of it.
Okay, fine. When it comes to Amiibo and Skylanders quality, it's so much better than Skylanders. But it doesn't matter, because right now.
So, yeah, because LEGO, the figures themselves, LEGO wins out of everything, every Toys to Life thing, LEGO won, basically, because the figures and stuff were actually LEGO.
It's not only that, but it's just you can have Doc Brown from Back to the Future and Peter Venkman from Ghostbusters. You can just have them fight Joker, who's riding a raptor in the arcade world, and Venkman and Doc Brown are riding Harley Quinn's truck.
I mean, Infinity could also do some sort of stuff like that. You could have freaking, what was it called? The, damn it, can't remember the name of it. I don't remember. But you could have, a matchup where it's Mr. Incredible versus Anakin Skywalker, stuff like that. Meanwhile, Mr. Incredible is using a frying pan from Tangled, and Anakin's just not using his lightsaber and instead using a pirate sword. You can do crazy crap like that, and of course there's the world building aspect, which is half of the game. So there's that, but Dimensions, it just feels like you can do so much more, and that's mainly because other than characters, they're also selling vehicles and other stuff that come with those figures. to make the...
It's good enough to where it doesn't need a sequel. It just needs expansion.
And also...
more characters. It doesn't feel like it needs a sequel. And if anything, it's just going to be the game itself.
It's just going to be the game itself. That's really nice. Another thing about Dimensions is it's just one continuous game that's going to go for, like, years. Like, 3 years from now, they'll...
Yeah, because right now we have expansions that are like, there's a lot of stuff that makes sense, but here's the thing. For those of you who've seen the new LEGO Dimensions trailer, there are characters that are in there that make sense, like, say, the new Ghostbusters, or, like, Harry Potter, because he was in there.
And then you have stuff like Beast Boy.
Sonic was rumored, so it makes sense, because Sonic was already rumored. But then there are characters that are in there just, like, they just make you go, what? Like, there's E.T., and then there's the guy from the A-Team.
Yeah,
Mr.
T.
Beast Boy from Teen Titans Go. Worst show I've ever seen.
And then there was the guy at the end who was from something that I can't remember. I had heard what he was from, but I can't remember what it was.
Here's the thing, there was a kid that reviewed the E3 trailer. He's just like, okay guys, we're getting Beast Boy for LEGO Dimensions. Teen Titans Go is like one of my favorite shows. I'm so excited. Like, here's the thing.
Stop saying here's the thing. You've said that like 50 times.
Okay. But I got a Batman set, the Joker Funland, and it comes with Robin, Starfire, and Beast Boy from the original Teen Titans. I might get the Teen Titans Go Beast Boy, and I'll just take him off the base and put the original Beast Boy on there. Just call it a day.
Makes it like 20 times better just because of that.
Yes, because Teen Titans Go is freaking awful. The legendary sandwich, bruh. Looks can be dangerous.
Fun fact, the guy that voices Beast Boy in the new Teen Titans Go also voices the new Mikey in the new Ninja Turtles series on Nickelodeon.
Yeah. I knew that instantly.
That's the second time in a row we've mentioned Ninja Turtles on the podcast. We need to stop right now before it gets any worse.
By the way, for any... if you're hearing random noises in the background on my end, that's because I'm playing LEGO Star Wars. It's a really fun game, actually. I recommend it.
So, also about Dimensions is characters going in and out of worlds. In Infinity, for the first one, you couldn't have characters go into other worlds. Like, you had to have the Incredibles in the Incredibles world. You had to have Monsters University characters in Monsters World, Cars in Cars World. In 2.0, they kind of made that a little better. They had crossover coins, and when you collected them, characters could cross over into playsets, because everything that was a playset in 2.0 was Marvel-related. So, if you got all the crossover coins in the Spider-Man playset, Iron Man could then go over to the Spider-Man playset, and stuff like that. So it was a little better there. In 3.0, they still had coins, but there was only like one for each character, and every Star Wars character could go into every Star Wars playset. So that was pretty nice. In Dimensions, however, that there's no boundaries, there's no limits. It's just like you could use whatever, whenever. You know, any world, any point in time. Like, for example, you could bring, just to be kind of funny, you could have Marty McFly in the TARDIS going into Cloud Cuckoo Land. You could do crap like that. In fact, I could actually do that right now. I could boot up the game right now and do that if I wanted to. Because I have that stuff. I have the necessary stuff, but... Or you could have, like, Slimer from Ghostbusters fighting, like... With the new Series 2 stuff, you could have him fight Beast Boy from Teen Titans Go. Or, like...
Beast Boy from Teen Titans Go should die.
Yeah, I don't know why they included Beast Boy from Teen Titans Go. Why didn't they show, like, any of the other Teen Titans? Like, why just Beast Boy? If they had showed, like, all of them, I would have been...
Here's the thing, because they already have DC. Why does it have to be in Teen Titans Go specifically?
Well, maybe it isn't Teen Titans Go, it's just...
Know your audience! And guess what? Teen Titans Go is for nobody. It's the worst show I've ever seen. Well...
But I think you already said that. I think you already said that in this episode.
Well, I can't say it enough that show is just garbage. I can't say it enough.
Actually, there is a certain point where you have to stop. It's when you're dead.
Yeah, that's where you can't say anything at all.
I'm great fun at parties. But, like,
I like how I can't stop saying Steven Universe is the best show I've ever seen. Just, Steven Universe.
Stav and Omniverse.
Oh, jeez.
That's the joke version that I came up with. Actually, the Stavin I think I got from Evan, and I just added Omniverse.
What the heck am I looking at?
I don't know. What are you looking at? I can only see you. I can't see the thing you're looking at.
Okay, hold on. I want to tell you everything I'm looking at on my screen. I am playing Lego Star Wars. I'm playing Darth Maul as Darth Maul in a little hovercraft, and he's piloting it, Darth Maul, right now. And he's got his hands out, and he's not touching anything. He looks like he's getting ready for battle, and you don't think his head moving up and down like a bobblehead.
Okay, so, moving on. Another great thing about Dimensions is it actually has a full storyline versus Disney Infinity, whereas Disney Infinity, they just had like one storyline per playset, and it was limited to that universe and stuff like that. In Dimensions, however, they have a full story. All the characters do something. Like, there's a level dedicated to each world, and then there's level packs that you can get separately.
There's two worlds that are left out. Jurassic World and Shima.
Yeah, well, no one cares about those. Because no one cares about Shima, and then Jurassic World apparently sucked. So, yeah.
No, Jurassic World was actually really good.
Well, a lot of people didn't like it.
Shima, people might not like as much, even though I will say the TV show Shima, it was not the best, but the soundtrack was great.
It's kind of like, this is kind of a arbitrary reference, but it's kind of like what people think about Tenso Sentai Go Sager, whereas the show was pretty bad, but the soundtrack was, like, godly. Like...
Yeah. It's like Sonic 06!
Or, yeah, Sonic 06 as well, also.
You can't use that for Sonic Boom because everything about that game is awful.
It doesn't even have a main theme, really. It's just noises.
Yeah.
It's just instruments playing at random, trying to sound musical.
It's just like, like that's the only thing.
That's the best track of the whole game, and that sucks. That's the only memorable song in the game. The rest of the game's music just feels lifeless.
Yeah. I mean, the only thing good about Sonic Boom is that when the character animations themselves, like, not the graphics, but the animations of the characters themselves are actually, like, they actually bring out the personality pretty good.
Yeah, I feel like I'm running out of stuff to say about this argument here. Let's talk about what things Disney Infinity has over LEGO Dimensions. Well, like I mentioned earlier, there's the toy box mode where you just build whatever you want and do all sorts of crazy crap in there, and all the characters can go into there. There's no limits to what characters go into the toy box. In fact, there are characters made that can only go into the toy box and nowhere else in the game. Like, well, actually, no, I shouldn't say that, because there's also, like, the Hall of Heroes and challenges and stuff that they could go into. But I mean, like, They can only go into the toy box and that stuff. They can't go into play sets. And, again, I've already mentioned this, but Dimensions handled that much better.
You can do pretty much anything.
Where it's like, characters go to wherever, whenever, do anything they want. And then, Infinity, however, you can build all sorts of crazy contraptions. Like, for example, you could build a fully functioning pinball table in the game with a point system and everything. You could build that. In fact, I should know. Not because I made one, but because one of the templates that you get at a certain point is a pinball kit. You place that in your world, you go over to the challenge pad, hit start, and then you're controlling the pinball table. Even the triggers activate the bumpers. And it's great. Or the flippers, I mean. Whatever. You get what I mean. There's also, like, fully functioning sports. Like, for example, you could have a fully functioning soccer game, and maybe you could get a basketball game going, or football. Those ones would be a little harder, though, because the balls in that game are just, like, 20 times bigger than the actual characters.
Get the guy! The guy, he just pushed me off!
Good.
My teammate.
So, like, they're just giants, so you can't really do... It's kind of hard to control them. Unless you had, like, a fast-moving character like Dash, or you had a character that had race attacks. It's hard to control otherwise. Or you had, like, in the first game when they had Buzz Lightyear's jetpack. Actually, no, they carried that over into the second and third games. And, one problem with the toy box, though, is that the bicycles from Monsters University that they have in the playset are not in the toy box at all. And Disney Interactive said, like, oh, it's because we would have to program the pedaling animation for every character, whereas there's only 3 Monsters University characters. So that basically they're saying they're lazy. Like, I would have expected that in the second game. Second game, there's no bicycle mechanic at all. So it was completely removed. There's bikes, which are easier to program because you don't have to put like 50. You don't have to put the like a pedaling animation, but you just have to have the character in one position and the turning animations. But basically, what they were saying with no bicycles in the toy box, that made me think that they were getting lazy. They kind of were, because 2.0 was like worse than 1.0. And I said earlier it was hard for me to say that, but yeah. I can kind of say for sure 2.0 sucks. But it did introduce some things that helped 3.0 be great.
Apart from the demo, and I personally don't like it. It's just something that is not necessary. But you can do all that stuff in separate games. It doesn't. Just it takes on aspects that can be done in separate games, and it just turns it into Skylanders. That's all it does.
And it was also kind of like an advertising, part advertising campaign, because they had, like I mentioned earlier, they had the first game, they had Monsters University, and then there was also a Lone Ranger playset, and both of those were put in the game to promote those movies respectively, because they came out that year. And then 2.0, they had characters from Ultimate Spider-Man in the Spider-Man playset because that was running at the time. I'm pretty sure it still is. That was new at the time. And the Guardians of the Galaxy playset as well. They had that there because there was a new Guardian. I almost said a new Guardians of the Galaxy movie, like there's multiple. But Guardians of the Galaxy was coming
out with a sequel.
Yeah, but you get what I mean. Like, at the time, there was only the one. And then 3.0, they added Force Awakens stuff, because Force Awakens was new at the time. Hadn't even come out when the game released. And they released the Force Awakens stuff for Infinity on the same day that the movie came out in theaters. And then they had Star Wars Rebels stuff to promote that, because that was more new at the time, and I think there was at least one other case of that. Maleficent was in 2.0 because that was new at the time. In 3.0, they had the Marvel Battlegrounds playset, but they had a Civil War themed Steve Rogers. Like, it was the costume design that they had for the first Avenger version of Captain America was based on Civil War, so they kind of had that. That was sort of their answer to having a Civil War playset, except that released 2 months earlier and has little to nothing to do with Civil War.
Yeah.
And as for, and then there was
guys fight each other. That's the only important part.
Well, that's why people love Smash. Then there's the Inside Out playset was new at the time. They're gonna have a Finding Dory playset. I'm guessing later this month because the movie's coming out. Movie's coming out later this month, so the playset's probably gonna come out then as well. And then that'll be it. Infinity will be officially 100% done after that point. When that playset releases, you're gonna see some videos of the gameplay of the playset, and that's it. It's just gonna kind of disappear.
Thank God. It's
the reason is not because they weren't getting poor sales and stuff. The reason for it being discontinued is because of like I want to say it was a month ago, but I don't remember exactly if it was. They had a Disney itself had a 6% or 6.9% drop in the profit. 6.9, and you know it doesn't sound like that much, but keep in mind this is Disney we're talking about here. So that was quite a bit actually, and they had to lay off. They had to lay off people, and a lot of the people they laid off were part of the Disney Interactive team that made Infinity. So they figured, you know what, that's too much. We're done. We can't do this anymore.
Skylar, what you said. This is Disney we're talking about. I just remembered someone made a parody about the Five Nights at Freddy's movie. It's just like, hey Mark, I want to talk to you. It's like Mickey. And then it shows a trailer called It's Five Nights at Freddy's, the musical. It's just like, do you want to eat some pizza?
I've never heard of that whatsoever.
Hopefully people listening to this have seen that video. If you've seen it, you know what I'm talking about.
Well, of course they would know what you're talking about if they've seen it, because they've seen it!
Hey.
Oh, man.
Hey, Michael Bay here.
Michael Bay here. Boobs and explosions.
It's just like, no, it's just like Michael Bay here, and then there's an explosion.
I think he was listed in an honest trailer as the, director most likely to masturbate to an explosion.
What?
Yeah, the Revenge of the Fallen.
Just stop. We're getting off track. This is supposed to be about Lego Dimension.
Well, you mentioned Michael Bay and threw everything off, so, I mean, it's your fault.
Whatever.
Anyways, we're getting
have anything more to talk about Lego Dimensions?
You can have the 12th Doctor fight Doc Brown. You can have
you can have Flash fight Sonic.
They
ever make Flash?
Okay, yeah, I was about to say, like, they haven't made Flash, have they? Yeah. I'm kind of surprised that they didn't have, like, the Flash, Green Lantern, and Green Arrow, even, for LEGO Dimensions, because they were in, like, DC Superhero, or LEGO Batman 2 and 3. So, I was kind of thinking, like, alright, they got a bunch of other characters from those games. Okay, so, you're gonna bring them in, right? No. Alright.
Why not? Because licensing.
No, it's not. If it was licensing issues, they wouldn't have any of the characters. They wouldn't have, like, any characters if it was licensing issues. But they have a ton of DC stuff. And who knows, maybe
they had Robin.
Yeah, they don't even have Robin either. That's just dumb. And he's in the game, but he is not playable.
And so are the other characters from Scooby-Doo, but no one cares about that anymore, so.
And also, the Wizard of Oz characters, you see all 4 main characters, but the only playable character is the Wicked Witch. That's it.
Yeah.
The others the others are in the game, but they're not playable.
You see the 4 main characters for, like, I don't know, like, say, the first few cutscenes at the beginning of the game, and then they're never seen again.
Even at the end, when they save everything?
Even at the end!
Wow. Anyways, so we're about 26 minutes in, so I think we're going to end it here. So, see you guys next time for whatever.
Have you beaten the story?
What?
Have you even beaten the story of the game?
Have I? No.
Okay, yeah, no, just end it.
Alright, bye.